like my BMW? But listen really carefully. Do you hear that? You don't hear anything. That's because this is the all-electric BMW i4. And it might look familiar because it's built on the same framework as the BMW M4 and M3. It has the same proportions, it has the same body, it has the same wheels, it has the same pretty much everything except the engine. This has two electric motors, one in the front, one in the rear. It's all-wheel drive, and it has 540 horsepower with Sport Boost, which gives you all of that horsepower in one fell swoop when you tap the accelerator, and it's pretty incredible. But let's talk about this grille. So the BMW i4 has the traditional kidney grille with its modern form. It's very large, it's very oversized. It's a flat panel here with these little cutouts that give it this detail, and then it's sort of this metal mesh down here because there actually is air intake. There's just not as much as there is on a gas engine version, but the batteries and the systems do need air intake to cool things off. There's a flat panel here where there's some sensors. There's sensors here and here. The camera is here. And then notice the blue BMW badge. It's ringed in blue. And this whole kidney grille is ringed in brass. Those are two telltale signs that this is the electric and not the gas version of the BMW 4 Series. Our test model is painted Portimao Blue, which is sort of an electric blue color, probably why BMW chose it. And it comes in this really beautiful matte finish. Now, one of the issues with matte paint is often you can't run it through a car wash. This one is just fine to go through a car wash. I ran it through this morning. It looks pretty great. A couple of water spots, so you might want to wipe it off with a cloth when you're done taking it through the car wash. But all in all, it looks really good. The downside, it's a $3,600 edition. There are also carbon fiber details on this car. The side mirrors and the rear spoiler are carbon fiber. There's also carbon fiber inside. That's a $2,600 edition. And then there's also an M Sport or M Technology package. That is the tuning and the drive experience that you get in this car. And that's a $2,500 edition. The all-in-all price of the car that we're driving, $82,000. The base price or the MSRP for the i4 M50, about $62,000. So as BMWs go, you get all the M performance, you get a lot of great features for $62,000. That's pretty great. Add on to that another $20,000, and not a surprise at all. Plus, think about all the money you're going to save not buying gas. And these days, that's a lot. Rear end of the BMW i4 M50 is really familiar. So it starts with these tail lights, which are new, and they have this nice little dip here. It's a really pretty taillight signature. There's the M50 badge. Notice there's no I here because there's no fuel-injected engine. This is all electric. The i4 badge is over here, and then here is the BMW logo with the rear view camera embedded right there. Notice that the logo is rimmed in blue, and that's one of the ways that you can tell that this is an electric car, are the blue accents, and then there are also some bronze accents, and those are distinct and unique to BMW's electric cars. Down here, I'm going to point out a few more things. There are carbon fiber panels here. Of course, we don't have exhaust pipes, but the lower bumper of the BMW i4 looks very much like a 4 Series. It just has the things that it needs for aerodynamics and efficiency when it comes to electric car driving. Should we check out the cargo area? So notice that when I open the cargo area, this area is open to here. When you're sitting in the passenger cabin and you look back, it does not look like a hatch because you have this and you have this privacy screen. So those things really work to keep the feeling, the cabin feeling a little more intimate. I'm going to show you though, these seats do fold flat, and it's a 60-40 fold. So you can fold these seats down for extra cargo space, and with the seats folded, you get a lot of room in the BMW i4 M50. All you do is you pull this tray up off of its pegs there, and then turn this little dial, and these just pop right out just like that. And voila, you have a much more open and airy cabin. It's super quiet. It's all electric. So you do hear the tires on the road a little bit. It's BMW, so the suspension is stiff and sporty. You will feel the suspension just going over like joints in the road or bridge or the parking garage. You'll hear it. Listen, you can hear it. It's not super loud. It's not super invasive in your experience. The cabin is comfortable, and you do block out all the road noise of cars and trucks and things like that around you, which is pretty nice. We have some nice ambient lighting in here. So notice along the door panel here, there's some nice ambient lighting. But let's take it out on the highway and try out that Sport Boost mode. Sport, I've got it on Sport Individual. I'm turning it on Sport Boost. And that is when you barely touch the accelerator just to get you going, it feels very normal. But that's not the point. Now I will say, only do this where it's safe, where you have a clear and unblocked road, where you are in control. It's fast. It's fun, but it is very instant, and you don't want to put yourself or others in any jeopardy, much less the car, because the car, you don't want to damage this $82,000 car. About $65,000 to start, about $82,000 as tested, with quite a few upgrades, including this infotainment screen, multimedia screen, the M Sport tuning package. Woo! And look at the driver instrument screen. That lights up red when you're in Sport Boost mode. So Sport Boost, it's only for a short time. It defaults down to individual at some point if you don't use it. But shall we give it another try? So yeah, so it turned off there. So you get about 15 seconds of Sport Boost mode. You can't leave it in that and drive in that all day, but you tap it and then, woo! And it gives you like all of that horsepower instantly underfoot, and it's really fun. Don't get in trouble. But the real magic in the BMW i4 is right here in the driver's seat. So it starts with this beautiful steering wheel. It's very familiar. It has an M badge because we're in the M50. The blue ringed BMW logo here reminds us that it's electric. This is one of the big things here for this model, and that is this flat curved pane screen that houses the driver information screen and the multimedia system. We also have a head-up display, which is standard in our model, and that gives you all of your driver information right here in front of you. The interior is outfitted with this really beautiful cognac. Looks like leather, isn't leather. It's called Sensitech, and it's actually a man-made material, but it looks and performs and even smells like leather. It's really beautiful. You'll see that cognac color repeated here and on the door panels. The aluminum trimmed rhombulus design of these air vents and other details here on the dashboard. And then down here, there is more carbon fiber. So carbon fiber surrounds the control center, and it also covers the cup holders and the wireless charge pad. The dash is covered in this nice soft touch material. And then here we have an oversized sunroof. They might call it panoramic. I wouldn't call it panoramic because it doesn't cover the rear seat, but it is oversized and it's nice and it gives you a lot of light and space in the car. The big news here though is this. So you get this great lights and magic, and everything comes to life when you tap the start button. And then it has the standard BMW controller. So I can push this and bring it back to drive. And if I want to go into extra regenerative power, I just push it over to the left, just push it, that's it. It goes into B mode, and B mode gives us regenerative braking. Anytime you take your foot off the brake, or off the accelerator, you are in regenerative braking. You can add to that with the Eco Pro setting. So Eco Pro gives you even more regenerative braking, or you can you can drive in regular drive mode and put it in Eco Pro. So you can pick how regenerative you want it to be, or you can go for none of that and put it in Sport Boost. You could probably run out your entire battery in about, I don't know, a half an hour of fun with that. But probably you'll go further. But that's where you're really going to use the most power, because that's where you put all 540 horsepower to work, is in Sport Boost mode. And then there's also Comfort mode, which is great if you have backseat passengers, because backseat passengers are really going to feel that regenerative braking. They're going to feel that sort of, we used to call it shock, shift shock, and now we call it, is really more of a gravitational slow, a quick slowing of the car using G-force. And if you do have backseat passengers, you probably want to put it in Comfort mode. And Comfort mode will make the regenerative braking less dramatic. You won't feel that lurch that you do when you're in B mode and Eco Pro. You can really feel the car slow very quickly, and you're not going to feel that quite as much if you're in Comfort mode. The rear seats are 40-40-60 fold, so you can just fold down the center part if you need that extra space. Skis, I think, is what people attribute that to. And in the rear seat, you'll find a fair amount of legroom, and that's thanks to BMW's bucket seat design for their rear seats. So the seats really do bucket down. They let your center of gravity sit a little bit lower, and that gives you just a little more extension for your legs, which is really nice. There's also some nice room underneath the seats for people's feet. Passengers in the rear seat will find that there is an armrest with cup holders here, so pretty standard, nothing too fancy. There are two USB-C ports here, so you will need to get a modern adapter if you have an old style USB port. There are climate controls here and vents here, seat back pockets here. The sunroof does not extend over the heads of rear seat passengers, but if you have people in the rear seat, removing that cargo cover is a really great way to get extra light into the cabin, and it does feel a little roomier in here with that taken out. But there is an elephant in the back seat. Do you know what that is? It is this, the hump in the floor. Because this is built on the platform of the M4, it has that space for the drive shaft tunnel, and that's something that we don't need in an electric car. You see that space flattened and given back to the passengers in many electric cars. BMW hasn't done that yet in the i4, but that is one of the few trade-offs that you see in this car for having the full BMW experience. The BMW i4 M50, that's a mouthful, but BMW's car names always are. It shows us two things. One is that BMW is dedicated to still being BMW in every car it builds, but also that they're dedicated to building electrified cars. I might even add a third, and that is that M tuning and M Sport driving are the same whether it's gas or electric. 540 horsepower, 230 miles of range, sport mode, Sport Boost, which is a total hoot. I might call it a gas, but I won't do that here. Gives you the M Sport performance that you expect in an electrified car, in case you want to leave just a little bit lighter footprint on the earth. Whoa! That was a catch. Uh-huh. Oh, shoot. That's why I don't use my phone for this. And And that's the beauty of electric driving, is that instant acceleration. Woo! Okay, see you toss the phone.